What's up? Mama, on show right
Okay,
now.
it's over to you, Mr. Moderator.
So thank you very much. I'd like to say welcome, Mr. Maulo, Mr. John Maulo, and welcome everyone, Paul, Hentrick, and Linfor. And we'd like to say welcome to all of our listeners and followers. So today we are privileged to have with us Mr. John Maulo, who happens to be an accomplished Liberian and one of the founders and forerunner of the ANC Global, uh, to say the least. So Mr. Maulo is a Liberian political analyst, and it's an opportunity having him here tonight as we are about to delve into conversations surrounding political unfoldings in Liberia with focus on the Rickman role within the CPP. So we want to say, Mr. Maulo, you are welcome. And if it meet the acquiescence of all of you, I would think we should get started now. And first of all, we want to give you the opportunity to provide an introduction for yourself, Mr. Maulo. Give us an understanding of your background, perhaps your education, and yeah, what you do with the ANC, perhaps.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, and everyone on the panel. I'm not the kind who what would I say? Brag about education and all of that. What I can say in short is that I study international relations and diplomacy, public administration and management, and with emphasis in national security. Um, I'm executive of the ANC Global. I am the regional chairman of the East Coast, which means from Virginia through New York all the way to Boston. And I'm also a member of the communication team. Almost an ardent believer and support of Mr. Alexander Cummings and his view and aim for the Republic of Liberia because I want to see it better. I grew up in Liberia where it did well. And it hurts me to see my country in the state I see it in. And for that reason, whatever we can do to change it, the OA to come to make Liberia a better, stable place, respectable place for all of them to grow up in, to have an opportunity to have a better life. And this is our goal, and this is where I stand. Thank you.
Wow. So thank you
Well,
very much. I I hope you
can
can
you
hear
hear
me
me?
loud and clear, everyone.
Yes, you allow.
So thank you very much
Yeah, I can.
for such a splendid, introduction, you know, yeah, of yourself, sir. So moving forward, just bringing you to business. I'm sure you've been following the political unfoldings in Liberia. Um, Mr. Cummings has been preaching this message of real change since 2017. This message that is centered around changing the system, this system that has plunged our people, into the doldrum of political, marginalization, and economic stagnation. This system, Mr. Cummings wants to change. But in order to get the system changed, there is the 2023, battle ahead to unseat, the former soccer legend who is now president of the Republic of Liberia. Due to his popularity factor, the CPP decided to, few political parties decided to come and join the CPP. Now, as it stands, there are all efforts geared towards ensuring that the CPP gets disintegrated, and Mr. Cummings is a target. My question is, why is Mr. Cummings a target?
Well, I think that's a non-question. Who do you target in the war? The weakest link, right? Let's put out there in the first place before we even start. This whole issue is about the system, which is the government, and what they've been doing, fighting Mr. Cummings and the people. Mr. Cummings stands for the betterment of the people. The government is enjoying the status quo, and they don't want it to change. They want a second term. Mr. Cummings is the obstacle. They really got nothing against the man, completely zero. And so for them, since they know now how to live correctly or act correctly, they cannot compete. And so because they cannot, and they have some power, they try their luck, or they're trying their luck to see how far they can go with it. And it is upon us to make sure we teach them a lesson that they will never forget. That we know what we want for ourselves as a Liberian people, and we're not going to let anybody sabotage that intent. And so this is where we are with this whole thing. That's why they're attacking him. He is the strongest and most potent opponent to them. And whatever means they can use to sabotage his progress or even make him withdraw from the race will be to their advantage, and will be to the total disadvantage of the Liberian people for whom he fights. That's it.
Yeah, so just before, thank you so much. Just before Paul can come in, now the reason why I was blunt enough to have said why Mr. Cummings, Mr. Maulo, is because it was the ANC that joined, into a political marriage with the rest of the other parties to make up the CPP. So, every action in my view, even though I'm not a student of law, not an apprentice of law, but every action, that Mr. Cummings executed, he executed in his capacity as political leader of the ANC, representing the ANC. So I thought, if there are issues with the actions that the ANC took when the ANC was presiding over the CPP, by virtue of statutory, requirement, I had thought, the writ would have been directed at, the ANC as an institution, then, singling out Mr. Cummings, as an individual. And that was why I was clear enough. Yeah. So you want to have a comment on that?
And you're right. But you see, yeah, I'm saying that you're right. But you see, you live in a lawless country. You live in a complete banana republic. You see, Banana Republic had a limited meaning. They had to expand it to include countries like ours. We're a complete Banana Republic, and the courts are kangaroo courts. Okay? So for this reason, this is even more a reason why we need an Alexander Cummings. Because we're talking about a rule of law where the president will not even get drunk enough to call a judge about a case. In this country where I live, if the president of America called the circuit court judge to tell what to do with a case, that would be his impeachment he signed for. You understand? But in our Banana Republic, the president can call the bank, bring the key to the coffers. He can call the court and tell the Supreme Court justice what to do. Anyway, and the thing they work for him. Though we say we got 3 branches of government, the other 2 don't know their duties. And they don't know their obligations and to whom. Right? So in this case, government feels it can do what it wants to. Any logical person, is as stupid as if you're talking to a dog on the street. How they call him, McGill, to represent the government of Liberia. And McGill did something out of the way. They're not going to ask George Weah. They're not going to sue Liberia. Mr. Cummings is not the CPP, neither is he the ANC. Mr. Cummings does not do the daily administration of the ANC. Mr. Cummings is the political leader and standard bearer of the CPP. Mr. Cummings has absolutely nothing to do with what they're calling him for. Because you can bring the most advanced forensic machine, it would not find his fingerprint on any of the documents. So to accuse him of forgery, which was not the original charge, you will notice. The original charge was fingering the document. Now they find out that they don't have a case there, so now it's forgery. But get something straight before we go further. Every political party had a member on the secretariat. So there were 4 secretary generals working on the area of the CPP. Document Mr. Uri's secretary. Listen to Mr. Uri's speech, his interviews. You will find them vacillating all over the place because they're trying to make it make sense. You know, they say the liar has to always remember his story. When you're talking true, you have to remember it because that's just the truth. So now to hear that kind of complaint without any sign or writ of arrest to bring the living body of somebody, insult to somebody's dignity. And for that, this issue of disrespect to the dignity of people and the laws of Liberia will stop with this case, because we're not just going to let them throw it out. No. Whoever was involved with this case never happened to another Liberian again. We will make sure this will be the precedent. for good governance in Liberia.
Mr. Maulo, thank you. So just before Paul can come in, I wanted to know, is this a major distraction for the ANC, considering that prior to this, the commencement, the initiation of the entire rigmarole, Mr. Cummings was regularly engaged with the community and amplifying his messages, surrounding the real change, and the voters were actually going Mr. Cummings' way, considering the swelling, Is this a major distraction for the ANC and Mr. Cummings?
Well, I think they wanted it to be stick. You see, if you used to play in school and you think you can carry the same kind of play in the college leagues, you will get crushed. And jump straight to pro. You
It's
sometimes it's so stupid and it's funny. They thought they was they were slowing Mr. Cummings down, but they have ended up making him even more popular.
yeah.
Well,
And we want to put them in a space, and we want to thank them helping us to do our job. Because they're even making Mr. Cummings more celebrated. For people who didn't understand what Mr. Cummings' stance was, they now understand. And they see it clearly. So they thought they were winning, but they end up losing.
So thank you. So let's do the round table. Paul, you want to come in after you? A female entry can come in. And then
okay. Good evening and good afternoon, Mr. Maulo. How are you? It's good to see you.
Paul. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, thanks for coming on. Our listening audience, I got a few questions here. Some of them want to know, how did the CPP started? Was it Mr. Cummings, or how the whole thing started for them to have this understanding of the CPP to start with?
Well, that's a good question, right? And you see, my in the way I operate, I always like to think on the why, right? When somebody talk to me, I hear what you say, but my answer would be based on why, right?
Mm-hmm.
The CPP came together because the Liberian people felt it was necessary. In Liberia, the way our system is, if you leave it as is, everybody individually, you will never fair win. There are just many people getting involved. No ideology. No, they just want to be president. Right? And so for that reason, we have seen lately that parties have to form a unit and run for whom, right? The election 2017, group of Liberians, including the guest who you had today, Manipake Demoy, this, brainstorming, say, you know what? These guys, because at the time they were so popular, let's get the most popular parties that came after them to join together. Let's see if we can get them together. Then we can flood these people, right? Mr. Euro was not that popular group, right? So they got in contact with Mr. Bromsky and they got in contact with Mr. Borkai. He said, fine. Then Mr. Bromsky said, but I want Alex to be a part of this. So they brought in ANC. Mr. Borkai asked that they must bring in Mr. Ure. All right? Because Mr. Ure had 24,000 votes in the whole country. Really? Is that a party or the social? You understand? So they came together. Now people constantly ask, oh, Mr. Cummings knew that these guys all corrupt and why he joined. Let's take that argument on face value. 100,000 plus votes in the incumbent, right? Those people, those 400,000 plus votes were Liberian citizens. The same ones who asking the question about why Cummings joined the corrupt group. Liberians voted for these corrupt people. Bromsky had 150 something or so thousand Liberians voters. They voted. ANC had 120 something thousand voters. How can you ask what join the group because Liberians told the world you like? So we had to join with them. The difference in this scenario is that Mr. Cummings, knowing the quality of different groups, choose to be the head, choose to vie for being the head. Because in our system, the head changes everything.
Yeah.
And so this is the fight. This is why he wants to be the head. This is why he refuses to be. And you will hear the same people asking first, why he didn't go to try to be representative first. To do what? To do what? Get corrupt or get seen with the corruption of others? No. This man has a purpose to change this country for the better. And so this is why he joined, and this is why he wants to be the group.
Okay. Right. So, Mr. Marlowe, going fast forward, regards to the issue on the ground with the court case against Mr. Cummings, what are some of the things you think that ANC doing, if you may, not to get into the legality of it, what is the fight? Because it seems like the government now against ANC instead of the other collaboration party. From where Serena Sifa said in his interview that it seems he has been guilty of, he have not started, the case have not started yet, but Mr. Cummings have been indicted. So what is ANC doing about it?
Well, in war, the element of surprise is the key to winning, right? The ANC is ready and capable to face the government and to take the government on. We're not going to discuss strategy. We're going to leave them to keep on praying in their foolishness. The first thing is that they don't have a case. They sued the wrong person. They should have sued the CPP. Because the whole species of the CPP. But you didn't even sue ANC, you sue the Spera ANC. That's completely the wrong person.
Mhm.
So you just put the international community up. And so you have indirectly invited them to find out what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Because the person you play with, he's just not a nobody. He's just not a nobody. As humble as he tried to make himself in Liberia, the guy is not just a nobody. This
Mhm.
guy is internationally renowned. People keep asking why you even be bothered with that kind of stuff. Because he loves his country. To
Yeah.
go there, to even try this foolishness, got the international community, the press, everybody kind of up. And if they think they're going to slip with this one, we're not going to allow it. They will reap what they sow, and this
Yeah.
case will settle it for the Liberian people.
An eye for an eye.
Thank you.
Well,
So thank you. I assume Paul first two questions are over. So, folks, if you're just joining us, we're in an interactive conversation with Mr. John Maulo. He happens to be an executive of the ANC Global, what I would call a political machinery of Mr. Cummings. So, in continuation of the roundtable, entry.
Yeah.
You want to come?
Thanks, Mr. Maulo, for honoring our invitation to come on the bottom line. With regards to what is
Welcome.
happening right now, the present situation regarding the the ANC and the ruling establishment, because that's what I'm going to say now. Because as it stands, it's not about the ALP anymore, it's about the government of Liberia, because the Solicitor General of Liberia came on Spoon Media and has already convicted Mr. Cummings that he is guilty of the accusation. And my question here in the debate that we had yesterday was, by him doing that has already disqualified him from the case, and it has the propensity of that case being thrown out of court. So I don't know what do you stand? What do you think if that is true in a legal perspective, if that is not true? Because for me, I was saying that it is possible with regards to me also being in the legal area because of my case here and there. So I have some kind of legal, little bit of legal experience because of, yeah, the same failed system and the same injustice that I have been fighting 8 years. So because of that, I have an experience about how things little bit work, but it's somehow difficult to understand the legal system in Liberia because it's not a normal country. It's not a normal place where you say the rule of law is working. So what do you think about that in that direction as the case is going on right now? What is it?
Andre, thank you. Listen, I really like your mind. I asked the guys that I needed Andre to be on this thing because and they like women like you who are full, who are strong, who fear nothing.
Mhm.
You go for it. And I like that about you. And I thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. You can be a good example to a lot of young women.
It's the
Listen,
system that make me strong. The failed
you in
system
Belgium,
that make
right?
me who I am today.
Exactly. You in Belgium, right?
Yes, I live in Belgium.
I started by saying I listen to what people ask, and then my inquest is why they asked what they asked, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my answer I have answered before. in the beginning we have Nana Republic,
Yeah.
a kangaroo court system, right? In a normal country, a country that abides by the rule of law, that case will be dismissed immediately
Yes.
for what the Solicitor General did.
Yes.
In a normal country, you could ask, even if they didn't dismiss it, you could ask that these people recuse themselves from the case.
Yes. Yes.
In a normal country, when you know that the judge is openly CDC and the Solicitor General is openly CDC, can ask them to be recused from the case,
Yeah.
and that the hearing of the case be to another. But then again, you got a banana republic, and have a choice. Our only choice is to fight it, invite the international community, which they have done for us, and stand up for the. Because what they can't do anything to Alexander, and we allow them to win, but in their mind, we could get over where Alexander coming. Who are these other ones?
Yeah.
You think it's bad now? Times it by 100. So it's up to us, Liberian people, to stand up for ourselves and our children. It amazes me that in Liberia, what I see these days, somebody kills somebody's child, and they're afraid because the person committed to the government to talk.
Yes.
Really? I can't be for the life of me. You understand? I would die twice before that happens to me. You know? And so that's where we are. We would just have to fight because we don't have a normal country. We got a banana republic. And until we can call a man like Alexander Cummings as president, it's not going to change.
So, Mr. Malo, that brings me to my second question. So, in a normal society and under a normal circumstances where the rule of law works, by right, the case is supposed to be dismissed by the court, or the Solicitor General be, recruited from the case, and also the judge, and allow a neutral person who is not a member of the CDC to take up the case and carry it out. But in this case, as it stands, where we all know that every one of them are worshiper of the government, can we say we can invite the presence of the international community? Because the international communities are there, they are monitoring Liberia. It's not like Liberia is an independent country that solely depend on itself. No, they depend on the outside world for everything. So because of that, the outside will also monitor and make sure that the rule of law take its course. So is it possible that if the lawyers of the ANC request that the Solicitor General be out of the case, or the case be thrown away, and I know it's possible that the judge might overrule his request because of the government involvement. So can you say that maybe the ANC can take up their case or start to give information out there to the international community and write them, informing them about what is going on, and ask for their intervention, because these are the things that can bring real civil unrest in the country?
answer your question this way, right? Um, Mr. Cummings on Thursday, his lawyers asked that Mr. Cummings don't need to be in the court. Directly, they
Yeah.
were saying this is no case. This case don't involve Mr. Cummings. Let us represent the
Yeah.
man and let the man go on doing what he has to do. Straight away, the judge said no,
No.
right? Why? The intent is to embarrass Mr. Cummings's travel,
Mm-hmm.
international businesses, right? So for them, if they can hold him down in Liberia when he has meeting, then he can attend. You know, if he has meeting abroad. What they don't know is that they notice Mr. Cummings don't need him to be there. He can do it on Zoom. So you can't sabotage the man. This man has intellectual property that these people need. Anywhere they can get in contact with him, they will get in contact with him.
Yeah.
He's not like you. You see? But they're so
But
shallow in their thinking. They
Mm.
keep on making things for themselves. You see? You say if you tell even if they ask for it, or the case, who you gonna call? The Chief Justice who went and stood up against his own justice in the court to have him dismissed just for ECOWAS courts to tell them that they need to reinstate the man, pay him a back pay, pay him his pension pay, and they up to now they refuse. I told you we got a banana republic. And the international community is the antennas are already up. ANC lawyer not going to do that. Who going to do that is the Liberian people. We need to cry out for the injustice that's happening in the country. Some of what we're doing now. Our people need to learn to stand up in this America that they say is the mother of democracy. When these people don't stand up, work, know what you're not work 24 hours and sleep. But people will leave their job to go stand up for what they believe in. One day and night, and you're scared to go stand up. What more can happen to you? Liberian people need to learn to stand up for what they believe, what they want, and until we stand up, we will not get what we deserve. ANC gonna stand up. They can believe it.
Yeah.
Community be involved. They're going to be in our courtroom. The international press is going to be involved. They're going to come in our courtroom. The government was looking for trouble. They got it.
Yeah.
Because we will not stop if that court come to this suppression of Liberian people will have to end.
Yeah.
With the end of that case. I wrote something on Facebook yesterday to concern. I say your future will be dependent on the end of that case.
Yeah.
So it's up to them.
So, yeah, so thank you very much for such a lengthy
Can I say something?
explanation. So I just wanted to note that we need to try to abbreviate our presentations. We've got approximately 22 minutes to go, and we've got a couple of questions that are yet to be asked. And so I would like to ask that favor of everyone. So, folks listening and following us, I mean, this is a reminder that you're listening, obviously, to the Borderline. It's a social media platform. And this is the segment that has to do with the ANC Hour. We use this segment to unveil to public glare, well-accomplished Liberians and patriotic Liberians who support Mr. Cummings. And then we discuss, trending political unfoldings within the country. So now we have the opportunity to have with us in studio Mr. John Maulo, who's an executive of the ANC Global. So moving forward, Linford, do you want to come in?
Okay, I think we've all welcomed Mr. Maulo, but I would like to say Happy New Year to you, sir. My question is, you are an official of the ANC, and following the unfolding events where the standard bearer of the ANC has been sued, and the case is presently in court, especially at the beginning of the new year, which leads to the active political season in Liberia. Do you think this case is in any way by now or in the future slowing down the progress of the ANC towards a political campaign that should be kicking off anytime?
My brother, the whole scenario, if you find, we got a mole in the CPP who is Mr. Brennan Ayure. He's been there from the beginning. He's working for the government. All the confusion in the CPP being that at this point in time, the CPP should be running campaign already. We haven't even done the convention to represent the CPP. We got people running all over the place and then moving them around like a puppet master, right? When the people say Liberian politics, that means you master fooling the people. You understand? And so that's what they call Liberian politics, right? It's not intellectually sound. It's just that you are a good crook, right? So he had made to work out and act like he a friend. And he put him under control. Then he get him doing foolishness, like saying the document was finger. First he said somebody told him. Now the last interview, he said he heard it on the TV or on the internet. So the Liberian people to us, the fool for these crooks who only intent is to use our misunderstanding to profit, right? So that they intend to slow us down. They intended with this to even ban Mr. Cummings from taking part in politics. But I think they smell a rat. We have informed them. Mr. Cummings informed them first. The ANC is informing them. And the Liberian people will make it clear to them this week that we're ready to go toe to toe until they do what's right. So they're slowing down all their plans. You know, in Liberia, they had some song the people sing when they're going to play game. They had destroyed their plans.
Well, okay,
they destroyed their own plans.
Okay, sorry. Let me just
follow on the wrong tree.
Yeah, let me just follow up on that because my original question was whether this court action or this case was intended to slow down the pace of the political activities for the ANC, considering that they are part of the CPP. And so, if I should reverse the question on the other side, yeah, okay, on the other side, do you think if this case continues, it's also going to affect the other parties that are taking Mr. Cummings to court?
You're breaking up. I didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me come back again. the question is, clearly, the intent of this lawsuit is to slow down the pace of the political activities for Mr. Cummings and the ANC. But do you think if this case continue, the same thing could happen to the other parties involved that are taking Mr. Cummings to court? Because, like you said, the ANC is prepared to fight on.
Look, the government has realized that they got no competition but the ANC. And so they're being preemptive, right? That's why they jump straight and grab Mr. Neck, right? The intent of the government is to slow Mr. Cummings down. They're not afraid of the other people. They're afraid of Mr. Cummings.
Yeah.
If they can slow Mr. Cummings down, they got a second term free flow.
Mm-hmm.
The surprise for them is that they jump on the wrong one.
True.
So their whole plan would be destroyed. Start early.
So,
Okay.
Chairman Maulo,
Yeah.
there are these views about others. There are these views about folks are saying that Mr. Cummings, politics is local, especially politics from our end. Some other folks believe that Mr. Cummings is yet to get adjusted, to the localization of our politics, such that his strategies are in line with the way and manner in which politics unfold in our area. Now, Liberians, as we may all quote unquote agree, in Liberia, when you are on the offensive, then it is presumed that you are in the lead, unlike when you are on the defensive. Now, so critics believe Mr. Cummings' opponents have placed him, persistently on the defensive. Now, what say you concerning that, sir?
I think the intent was that, but instantly, the action had put them in a defensive. And so it's up to the ANC to continue to pound their mistake so that they will keep on answering. Because you see us now, it's to the international community who want to refuse to deal with this government because they're trying to sabotage our election. You see? So their intent in the beginning was sabotage, to defensive. As if the world is a closed place. They forgot that they got internet and all this kind of stuff. Now they will be on the defensive. I keep on repeating. The war here is Mr. Cummings fighting the system for the Liberian people. And so they're trying to quill Mr. Cummings. Now,
so thank you.
The international community will fight for the Liberian people also.
So I guess you follow up with the court hearing, especially I think the second day, where the prosecutor, represented by, of course, the Solicitor General, requested a televised hearing process, adjudication of the case. Now, understanding that there is no legal backing for a televised adjudication, understanding that we have got no precedence, there's no case, even though the SG have persistently asserted that it is a landmark case And he have even said, if I'm right, I quoting him, that y'all come see the man called Cummings. So, you know, I see this more like as a pre-calculated attempt to blemish Mr. Cummings' high-end integrity and his relationship with the international community. And I'm talking about the request to have televised the adjudication. What say you, Mr. Maulo?
Well, that's why I keep on repeating. These people keep on trying problem for themselves. They're trying to grandstand with this thing. Everybody want their 15 minutes of fame. You know, Mr. Cummings sitting down on the defending bench and Serena Cephas passing around acting like he knows so much law and this and that. No, listen. The lawyers of Mr. Cummings refuse. The judge said he's going to die. Be it as it may, decide. You put Mr. Cummings, you put it on TV, you make your case worse. You don't put it on TV, you make your case, it will not be as bad as you putting it on TV, but it's still bad. Either way, you will be the loser. So they can, you see, look, it's like when you ask a stupid person to make a plan for your journey, you will go the wrong way. Either way, you will go the wrong way. And that's what's happening to them.
So thank you. They said the folks can come in. You know, I don't want to, hijack the flow, right? I got just one more question, but the folks can come in, you know, and then at least let's go around the table with one question. We got just 9 minutes more to go. So if you want, Paul.
Yeah, Mr. Maulo, the thing is, I want to divert a little bit. Being that this is an ANC night, I just want you to highlight something about Mr. Cummings' vision for Liberia for our listening audience. What sort of message that he's selling that the government or the people within the CPP afraid of that they all gain against him? Give up his message. What sort of message he's selling to the Liberians? Our listening audience wants to know.
And probably before Mr. Maulo can come in, there is some clip about Mr. Cummings that I want to play. Probably he can do on that, if you guys don't mind.
Well, time is our worst.
Go ahead.
I don't know how long that's going to last for. You can play if it's going to last for less than a minute.
We can go a few minutes, 5 minutes above. Okay, so Mr. Maulo, I played this clip from Mr. Cummings, and probably the question that Paul asks you, you can build upon that. So let's see.
My name is Alexander Cummings, and I want to work with honest men and women to change Liberia for the better. I want to open the doors of governance to all capable persons. I want to use the collective brain power of all of our men and women. I want to build a nation of self-sufficiency. I want to build an environment that thrives on and promotes a vibrant Liberian private sector. I want to ensure that we are a nation where education is key in all of our national development priorities. I want to create and nurture a development agenda that ensures our young people have jobs when they graduate from school. I want to create an environment where our women have access to equal opportunities in every aspect of our society. I want to promote a system that uses our country's natural resources for the benefit of all. I want to see our country flourish beyond our wildest imagination. We are capable of doing it if we work together. We may not all agree all of the time, but we can set aside our differences and work towards charting a new course without the infighting, backbiting, and backstabbing. Whether you're a member of the ANC, ALP, LP, or UP, we must channel our support for individual candidates into championing our collective objective, defeating the Weah administration in the 2023 presidential and legislative elections and ushering in a governance more prepared, more capable, more experienced, more skilled, and more honest men and women. With your help, we can move Liberia to being a better country. I thank you. God bless you and God bless Liberia.
You may go ahead, Mr. Manolo.
All right. All right. Look, thank you. Listen, I don't end the nation. This the first century. They say every year of war takes the country 20 years back. Now, time the amount of time we spend in war, and even the 6 years after the war. So we actually fought 20 years of war, right? So that economically, that 200 years back we went, or 400 years back. So that how far in the past we stay on. And what all this man is trying to do, use his expertise to bring as close as we can to the 21st century, because he's not going to be able to do everything in 12 years, but he want to make sure he sets the foundation. The preceding governments come, they would just build. Do you remember when he said he would raise the budget to $1 billion in 3 years, and everybody was jumping all over? He said impossible. Now the government, just to make them look close, they're putting credit and all budget to make it look like 700 and something thousand. So listen, I can show you, I can explain to you as much as I want how to fly a plane. If you don't know how to fly a plane, as soon as you get in there, you crash. You understand? This man is talking about infrastructure. This man is talking about healthcare. This man is talking about lifting the standard of living of Liberians, cutting down waste in the government, competing, renegotiating our concessions agreement so that we benefit as a country. None of these people doing it. None of them have. All they've been doing is say he not a salary. He uses a salary to fight corruption, and above all, the rule of law. If he must steal money, they will go through the system. If the system says she must stay in jail 5 years, she will go to jail for 5 years. The people are scared. They're not used to that. So that's what the fight is about. And so that's what we say. Is the system fighting Mr. Cummings, who is fighting for the Liberian people, and it's up to the Liberian people to stand up with him.
Yeah, so Mr. Maulo, what is true, we just got a few more minutes to go, and we are completing our last round. But before we take entry, if she has a question, I wanted to squeeze this in so that you can include it as part of your comment when you answer Entric's question. Now, I actually, comprehended and everything you say, and it deeply resonates with me. Now, for me, I think most substantively, of all of the things Mr. Cummings wants to do, about economic revitalization and every other thing he wants to do, there must be something very, very scary that has perhaps the proclivity to, call every actor of this, one-tongue system to order. Now, I'm afraid that, most people might be, might have this fear for Mr. Cummings, including the ruling establishment, on grounds that Mr. Cummings has consistently, insisted that upon, his ascendancy to the presidency, he's going to bring an end to the culture of impunity. And when he speaks about bringing an end to the culture of impunity, there are two things that come to mind. Not necessarily just the War Crime Code issue, but the issue of economic crimes, the issue of pay to play, which include almost every lawmaker today serving in the House of Legislature. So this is a big thing that is almost going to bring everyone, going to call everyone, going to demand everyone, every actor before to come to justice, to come and answer the question. So I want you to hear your thoughts about that. As Entry is coming in with a question. Entry.
I really do
think
not
you
have
muted Andrew.
a question directly to Mr. Maulo. My comment is going directly to the government of Liberia. I do not know why the government intend to take up this fight against Mr. Cummings and the ANC, because it's just like I say a monkey taking a stick to hit a lion. How is that possible? Can that monkey survive? The thing is, the we are government, you fail to realize even the smallest or tiniest person within the ANC have a voice. It's very powerful. Even me alone, I can bring CDC down. Just
Wow.
one comment, just one letter if I write. I'm not good at talking, but when I put pen and paper together, I can dismantle a whole government because I do it with fact. One thing the CDC government did not realize, the European Union and the US government, they spend a lot with regards to Liberia. And seeing that the city of Liberia is so dirty, and you have a city mayor who dress in very expensive clothes, is living a luxurious life. What will I say? It's a blow to the faces of the ordinary masses. And just a one tweet that I did on Twitter, the next day the European Union had to call you people to order. So you're just looking for trouble. You people are just looking for trouble. Take your fight, choose your fight very carefully. Know who you fight with. Mr. Cummings is not in your way. If you want to get into politics, you got to be ready to dance to the music of politics. Politics is not a sugar or milk thing. It's a dirty game. Once you get into it, you should know what you are in. And also, it's a game of competition. You gotta love to be competitive. If you cannot be competitive, then get out. But you cannot say because this man has all the quality of a good leader, so you want to strangulate him or you want to sabotage him. I have been a victim of a failed system, a failed country, a country that failed to protect their own, that failed to protect their younger girls, failed to protect their women. And because of that, I have grown to be strong. I have grown to be fearless. I have grown to fight for my right and for every other right of Liberian women. So you people should just stop. You got too many on your plate to look for another trouble from somewhere. Sleeping. They say, oh, Lele's teeth shaking, and then you go and slap her jaw. The whole thing with Jamo. You're looking for your
Yeah,
trouble.
indeed.
You leave Mr. Cummings alone because when you started, the thing where you start, if you can end it, we will end it for you. We will carry it. Beneda, you know already, you not even got good record.
Wow.
So we are, you already, you don't have good record. So gangster we got in the country, criminal, they loot still. All of you have bad record. The past unity government have stole.
So Agnes, I mean, Andre, you gotta be brief a little, so because we actually against time.
My dear, this is not about time. This is a serious issue that is going on. We have to, just as how Mr. Mauler said that we have to stand up and stand up and fight for not only Mr. Cummings, we are fighting for ourselves because this man is bringing change to Liberia. This man want to change this system that has kept us in abject poverty. And because of that, they want to fight him. The system is fighting. The system that have destroyed our country is trying to break him down, trying to bring him to. This is what they always do to people. Every good people that you see run away from Liberia is because of this. It's just a fortunate thing that they have to bring it to the population to see what they have been doing in the dark. But this is the real Liberia you are seeing. Part of gangster, group of gangster, those warlords, those criminals, those looters. They just pack themselves and say, oh, so you want to bring change. Okay, we'll see how far you will go. But enough is enough. That is the reason why there is a beginning to everything and they also have an end. This is going to be the end of whatever you people have been doing to the innocent people of Liberia. And we will take this fight to your doorstep. And we will not allow you people to disgrace Mr. Cummings or to break him down so that he can give up. Because come 2023, he's going to be the president of Liberia. And you can bet your life on it. Thank you so much.
Wow. Well,
Yeah, so folks,
Thank you.
if
Thank
you've
you,
been
Andre.
following us, yeah, I just wanted to remind our folks that if you've been following
Thank
us,
you, Andre.
yeah, you may go ahead, Mr.
Mr.
Maulo, if you have a comment on entry remarks. But I wanted Linford to come in with his last question too. Then Mr. Maulo can just comment on everything. Linford.
Well, for me, I really do not have. I think Mr. Maulo has exhausted almost everything. I do not have any specific question right now. What I want to say is that we encourage people to come on these kind of talk shows so that they can make their views known because uh, if you do not tell us or you do not tell the public what you know or what you mean, nobody's going to know. So it was good to have Mr. Maulo here. At least the conversation was good, and I think our viewers have learned something. Even we ourselves have learned something, and so I think these kind of conversations are good. And so you always welcome back, Mr. Maulo. Thank you.
So, Mr. Maulo, before you
Thank you.
can answer, I have a question. But I will. Paul, do you have a question before I can come in with my question?
well, the thing is, no, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to make some quick announcement before Mr. Maulo leave that on bottom line every Saturday is ANC night. So we'll be looking forward to you helping always some top executive member of ANC to appear on this program so we can go in-depth knowledge of ANC. Want to go drill ANC executive about ANC party manifesto that they want to take into the 2023 election. So I hope you honor our request to recommend somebody to come here so we can look at the way forward.
So wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So this is the question, and before you can comment on all of the remarks and inquiries, this is the question, Mr. Marlowe. Critics believe that critics believe that Mr. Cummings, is yet is yet to sort of be involved with the localization of our politics. I asked that question previously, and I wanted to hear your view on it. Um, Now, but before I leave, this is another question that has been playing on my mind, and this one is about this issue of handcuffs. Mr. Cummings, a writ of arrest was issued on Mr. Cummings. Other folks believe that it was a fine opportunity for Mr. Cummings, to have seen himself in a handcuff, and a campaign flyer with Mr. Cummings in handcuffs in 2023 could make a clear-cut case, for Mr. Cummings. Now, I would love to hear your views on that, even though Mr. Cummings made use of the law, the loopholes in the law, and he's been a law-abiding citizen. But what say you regarding this whole thing about handcuffs, and how could handcuffs be of help to the ANC struggle? Yeah.
All right. I want to thank all of you for inviting me here today, and I hope I give you enough clarity on what Mr. Cummings stand for, what the fight is that we up against, and how we intend to solve this problem once and for all for the Liberian people. You asked what we're gonna do. You asked what we're going to, what Mr. Cummings going to do. What one thing is scaring these people? Mr. Cummings said when he gets in office, in the first few days, set up a special commission to audit the entire government. That scares the crap out of everybody.
Corruption's
Can you imagine what will happen? He's setting up with a corruption czar and the auditing entire. I don't know what he's taking over, right? And the chips will fall where they may.
Yeah.
Listen, our country, Martin Luther King Jr. said, "You've been down so long, you think down is up." And that's what's wrong with our country. We've been doing the wrong thing so long, we think the wrong thing is the right thing to do. The Liberian people will see that they've been going the totally wrong direction, right? And they need to give this man a chance. The man record stands. His record, all you gotta do, Google it, you will see it. Nobody tell you, go read. Stop listening to third-hand information. The record is there for the world to see. People talk about the celebrity of George Weah. Alexander Cummings was a celebrity in the intellectual business world. As popular as you think George Weah is, when they talk about the people who control economy, Mr. Alexander Cummings is a celebrity in that world. And let me break a news to most of our people who don't know. It's the business people that run the world. All your politics there, they're all working for the business people. Let me tell you something. The great economies of the world, starting with America, are run by the business people. They employ the people. They bring food to the people table. If you don't war in your country, let the people have their food to eat. They're free and safe to go around. You will not have problem. The people who made that avenue for every country are the business people. You got a celebrity in that world. Hear his name, he and them on first name basis, and you comparing him to an entertainer footballer. That's why he's sitting down and singing while people dying. You understand? This man think he's there to joke. We got a man who's fighting when he doesn't have to. You understand? Martin Luther King Jr. left New York area and came down to the south, to the south in Georgia to fight for the black people, and they appreciated him. He died fighting for them. They appreciated him. But today, we can all stand here and go vote. Which one of the white president we want, or the black president, the president that we want. He had to sacrifice. This man, with all that he has accomplished, with all that he has, he moved to Liberia and sacrificing everything to make sure this country, with 200 years old, my people, we don't have time to waste. Our children's lives have been damaged enough. Our children's lives have been damaged enough. We don't have time to waste. Don't let these people put a barrier in front of your progress. Don't let them stop your children from children. Fight for your rights, Liberian people. Stand up with Mr. Cummings. Make sure it's the last advantage they take of anybody in our country. Let them regret thinking about it. Let them regret trying it. Stand up. Is the system fighting Mr. Cummings, who is standing for the Liberian people. And the least we as Liberians can do is to stand up and give him his back. Your life is far more important than anything George Weah thinks to and degrade you. It's not going to happen. We're not going to let it happen. Antrick, we need you in the fight. You will call your big sister or people there around there. We government, you understand what I mean. We put serious pressure on their case. They will regret what they did. They will regret what they tried. And they will never try it with another Liberian. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's been wonderful and amazing having you, Mr. Marlowe. The conversation was fruitful. It was intuitive. It was detailed. And I think it was also informative and educated to an extent acceptable. Thank you very much for unveiling yourselves to our call. Please take note of Paul Cholopla's, request. And we hope to have you on here anytime when necessary. We'll reach out to you. God bless you.
Steve, can you read the comments? Can you read the
Okay,
comments?
so if you will bring it on.
Let me see if I can put it on.
Yeah, Oliver J.K. Chia says, I hope we
Who
the
you talking
well-meaning
To Steve.
Yes, sir. Mr. Marlowe, you want to hear out the comments before you go? Or I mean, we are officially done with you. If you have time, you can stay and listen to the comments before you go.
No, I'm not rushing. I'm not ready. You got time.
Okay. So Oliver J.K. Chia says, I hope with the well-meaning Liberians in the diaspora engage the international communities on the role of the WIA-led government in this matter. So Oliver is a staunch supporter of Mr. Cummings, and is a follower of this platform, the Borderline, and he's always following us. And this is what he says. Are there other, attractive, striking comments that needs to be read? Subject related comments.
Yeah, I think he continued again in the other comment line.
He said, Oliver J. K. Chia says, he continues, including those at home should join comments to take the fight to those who are requesting the intended change Liberians need. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
I
you,
think
Oliver.
I think this fight that they have opened up against Mr. Cummings will only come to an end if we all collectively come together and fight against the failed system that is trying to fight against us. Everyone should come out and fight against it. No one should sit on the fence and say because it's not me or I'm not affected by it. This is not about you. This is not about me. It's about the future of Liberia and the future of our generation, our young generation.
So in continuation, Madam Chadilia Brown Cholope is one of our student supporter to patronage and patron. She is thanking you, our guest, and the Borderland family for the program. Yeah. So I guess those are the subject-related comments. And so, Mr. Maulo,
Okay.
we've got some technical issues with the Facebook. So this is why we post the link on the Facebook, so our friends and family and supporters and well wishers, join us by clicking the link and follow it from YouTube. So it's live on YouTube. While we're trying to work on the technical issues we have with Facebook. So we thought it was important to let you and our listening audience know as well.
Steve, I just want to add something on it. Starting from next week, I think we'll be using another Facebook link. The Voice Matter, we have linked to that, so we'll be broadcasting from that starting from next week until Facebook can open to unblock our page.
Okay. That would be good.
That would be excellent.
Normally
That would be
Facebook is
wonderful.
not supposed to block us. Normally, the system we use
It
is
has
not
happened.
supposed to be blocked, but I don't know why they.
So I would
Well, like
like
we
to
said, Chairman Maule, was good having you, man.
But
God bless
listen,
you. Yeah.
we all be
The network.
yeah, and I just wanted to say this. I want you to the sitting myself whenever you office the global will on them too. But the fight that we all must continue to be in. Country,
Yeah.
yeah. And we want them to stop doing business with this government until they stop this nonsense.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Because
Nonsense. And we going to be involved. Everyone should be involved. This needs to stop in that country. The abuse, the corruption, the abuse of the people's right need to stop. And it will start now. You see, God works in mysterious way. He made people do stupid things just to start the real thing. So we're going to do this. Liberian government, they long been playing. Now they hit the end of the road.
Yeah.
So ANC will show them what we mean. And Cummings, 10 times more. They know he not even affected their own good.
Yeah.
And for those who in the CPP and think they're sabotaging the ANC, they just made their case worse, because now the CPP knows who is who. They knows who's working for who, and the Liberian people will be the one to pay them back. So
And
I thank you, and
I even heard
we
that
continue to fight.
I even heard that the daughter of Beneda Yue has been appointed as or ambassador to France. I'm like, wow. So this is why she sold
I heard that,
Mr.
but
Cummings.
we send it going to confirm that. Going to confirm.
It's
I don't know.
reliable.
I
It's
don't even know
reliable
if-
information. It's coming from underground. Once you hear, you know that there's something
But-
that's in the making. But we
But
already
let
know.
me tell you, they got a right to send any ambassador, but the country to accept or refuse the ambassador. So but it's a good thing that they even suggesting it. Know that what we're saying today is not a lie. So the whole secret is out there now. So it's up to Liberian people. We got to fight. That's all. We'll keep on fighting.
Thank you, Mr. Mauro. It was great having you, and it will be our honor to have you another time again. As Bottomline More Power is a new platform, we just getting there. We just started growing, and hopefully we may start working soon. So, in that process, we'll ask you to give us the helping hand with some of the big names in ANC, because we have an ANC night.
Well, all of you live in Europe, and that's my old terrain. I lived in Europe for 15 years, and so I know the era a little bit too well. And so I hope in July, when you're having the occasion, I will be able to come and see you guys physically. Antrick, I'll tell you again, I like your mind, and I hope and know we will work together on several things.
Well,
Thank you so much.
thank you, Mr. Marlowe, and thank you for bringing that to our knowledge. We have been told that the ANC will be hosting Mr. Cummings on the 8th and 9th of July. So the ANC folks in Europe have engaged Bottomline, and then the eyes of the public saw some of the flyers. So when that happened, and Bottomline will be in the process of sending it out.
That is, by that time, CDC now put their senses back together.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a fruitful discussion. Thanks so much for being here. And the panelists, I would say thanks to everyone. It meant to be Steve and I today, but thanks to Andre for joining in, and thanks to Nifa. It was a great show. Guys, I think we should continue this. And to our listening audience, we have problem with Facebook, but that will be resolved soon. So by next week, we will be broadcasting from the Voice Matter, so people on Facebook can watch the show. I will say thanks to everyone, Mr. Linford and Andrew, and our guest, Mr. Wallo. Thanks for being on Bottomline. Until we meet again, I will say God bless and have a pleasant evening.
Yeah.
or
Bye to
afternoon over
everyone.
there. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.